Good evening, friends. Matt here from theshavingcadre.com, otherwise known as Lukey3262 on the forums. Popping in tonight for an evening shave. I took a few days off. Actually, I think I took about a week off from doing video shaves, and I've grown out about 3 days worth of growth today. But let's get down to the shave. Today I'm going to be shaving with CBL's Hello. A shaving soap that I actually requested he make some time ago, and I'm really proud of Chris and the work he's done with this. This is an awesome soap and scent. And then the matching aftershave, which I'm going to be using with it. As for a balm, I'm going to use 444 from Portugal. And for the hardware tonight, the shaving brush is an Alpha T400 with a badger tip, silver tip badger knot, and then a razor for tonight is a razor I just honed. I've spent the evening honing this after my son fell asleep. This is a Simmons hardware special number 8. It is a double concave. Have you ever seen a double concave? No, it's not a bellied full hollow. It is a double concave. So the blade is concaved, and then it is double concaved on top of that. It's concave. The bottom of the blade is actually concave. So it's one of the first full hollow processes. It gives you a stiffer blade, and so it's going to shave more similar to, not exactly like a wedge, but it's going to shave more similar to a wedge. But it's got a really cool look to it whenever you look at it. I mean, you can see that concave easily on there. Whereas with the full-bellied hollow razors like the Korats, yeah, you can kind of see it, but you kind of have to feel it. This, you can see it and feel it. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and start lathering. Simmons Hardware, which is St. Louis, Missouri brand, which that's where I ended up going to high school, and where my mom lived for many years before we all moved outside the city. So it's kind of cool to have some St. Louis, Missouri branded razors. I also have several other razors from the St. Louis area. I think I have a few from Kansas City. There are several other companies from Missouri that produced razors, including St. Joseph had razors as well. There were a lot of my assumption, I don't know the history of these brands, but my assumption is that there were a lot of German immigrants in the 1800s and the turn of the century that ended up settling in Missouri, which I know that is true. There are a lot of Germans that settled in Missouri. I'm descendant of some of them, and especially in the St. Louis, Jefferson City, and St. Joseph area. So, probably loaded way too much, but put about a minute worth of load time on there, and it's already lathered up really well, just from on top of the soap. And it's the Hello, by the way, is a nice citrus, kind of a oak moss. I don't know what category you might put it in. Maybe a Sheffier. Gosh. Some of the guys know better, and I'm the guy that discussed the scent notes that I wanted in it. But I know that it's got cedar wood and quite a few other notes that I am not picking up on right this second, and I cannot remember off the top of my head. So I'll stop talking, and I'll go ahead and shave. How about I do that? More than anything, Hello, being an ode to Inigo Montoya, is supposed to be like a fresh rogue scent. The scent of Spain was kind of my idea. So a fresh cedar, citrus kind of scent. So that's where it hangs. So you can pick that up from Chris at CBL Shaving Soaps. Now, what's going on with us? This last weekend was pretty good, quiet. Spent some time working around the house. Went and visited my father in Rolla, which was a great time. Kind of just have been taking it easy. I've got a pretty decent sized project at work I'm working on. Trying to get that to come to fruition over the next few days, hopefully. A lot of stuff going on the shavingcadre.com. We've got a lot of awesome threads running right now. Been getting together on our Zoom calls, which is always fun. Speaking of which, for Zoom calls, if you want to join a Zoom call, it's not shaving related particularly, but tomorrow we're having a sumo watch party for, I believe it's days 11 and 12 of the Grand Sumo tournament that's going on right now. And so if you want to learn about sumo, or just want to get together with some dudes that enjoy shaving and sumo, or want to meet some of us guys that make videos, I know we're going to be we'll be getting together, and I'm sure we'll have a little bit of whiskey and maybe some scotch, and sit and watch a few sumo matches, and some of the newer guys will learn a little bit about sumo. And anyway, I think we got about 5 or 6 guys that are going to get together for that right now, maybe a few more. But anyway, looks like I'm ready for the shave. Let's get started. Now, I did just get a haircut, and I have not shaved since my haircut. So, I'm going to try and cut my sideburns. It's a perfect time to get them cut right. And I wear glasses much of the time, so I usually cut my sideburns right where my glasses start, or where they hang on my face. Now this razor came to me with, actually I got it in a trade for knowledge. Helped a lady identify what she had in her husband's collection. He'd passed away, and she didn't just want to give the razors away, she needed to make a little money, so I helped her with figuring out what they were worth and where she could sell them, etc. And anyway, so she gave me a few razors, and this happened to be one of them. Now, I'd found this razor in the past, and every time you find, not every time, but most of the time when you find these Simmons number 8s, or really any razor that's a double concave in this style, oftentimes they're ground down to nothing. And again, I think it goes to the popularity and ease of honing of these razors. And the razor, or the owners probably just loved those razors and used them up. So anyway, so finding this razor in really good condition. It had one little chip near the toe that needed to come out that was about maybe a fraction of maybe 1/16 But really it was just part of the bevel. So anyway, I took care of that chip and ended up honing this guy on the Naniwa 1K, 5K, and then I jumped from the 5K to my Dota Creek, which is about a 7-8K, and then I went from the Dota Creek to the Calico Cream, and then from the Calico Cream I ended up finishing on my Jasper. And let me tell you what, this thing is perfect. Once I worked through that little chip, it really came together quick. Now, the one thing I did notice about the razor whenever I was honing it is that the scales are a little bit tight, and it has to do with the celluloid that it's made out of. Depending on the type of celluloid that it was made with, which this one was probably made in the 1920s or 30s. I'm not 100% certain when this one was made. I don't have a wealth of knowledge on Simmons hardware. Granted, I'm sure I could figure it out. But these scales are showing signs of shrinkage. And a lot of times that happens with heat. But if you see here on the pen, you can kind of see with the light, maybe, that the pen is shrunk, it's sunk into the scales. And the front of the scales are shrinking, causing them to give this nice little wave pattern. So unfortunately, this set of scales is going to need to go bye-bye, even though it says special number 8. Luckily, I have another version of this razor that has a terrible blade, and I will go ahead and salvage the scales off of that one, and we will have a completed period razor. And I think that other one I have is the yellow white scales, which those don't usually shrink near as bad. But it all depends on what it's made out of, and these vintage materials, you never can tell. Another few projects I'm working on. I'm rehabbing a brush that I have, setting a knot on another brush. I received a beautiful brush from Eric Sorrentino of Sorrentino Brushworks, and I'm setting a AP Shave Co. G5C knot in that brush. I actually have it sitting with silicone right now. And then what else are we doing? Planning on drilling out a few older brushes and filling them with some knots. Plenty of restoration worthy stuff going on right now. Now I did forget one other thing, very important thing. This shave is actually sponsored by a good friend of mine, buddy Nurse Dave Shaving World. He was kind enough to send me some Scotch samples this last week. I've never tried Scotch, and I enjoy several varieties of whiskey. He's constantly giving me razzings about him and Barber Dave are razzing me about drinking manly drinks. So Dave was kind enough to send me some, and from what I've tried, they're actually really good. I tried one that was a little bit surprising in its smoky peatiness. I believe it's called Aldberg 10. It wasn't bad, it was just really different. It was something I was not expecting. I wasn't expecting to have like barbecue in my mouth after I drink a little bit of liquor. And that's kind of the way it tasted, like I was eating barbecue. But it was interesting, to say the least. Really am enjoying how this razor shaves. Not to toot my horn too much, but it does have a pretty phenomenal edge on it. Nobody else is here, so I gotta toot it, I guess. Wow. Really not too much left for this final pass. I mean, I'm going to do across the grain, but I doubt we're going to hear too much. This thing's doing an amazing job. Yeah, I said that I honed it before I started this video, but I also spent about maybe 30 minutes. It had a little bit of rust on it. So I took the Dremel with the wire brush attachment, and I knocked off the heaviest rust, and then I took it to 1500 grit sandpaper for a little bit, and then I did, oops, wet my face, and then I did 2000 and 2500 grit, just to try and clean it up good. And then from there I went ahead and took it to the buffer with the black emery, and from the black emery I went straight to the stainless steel green chromium oxide and polished up well. I mean, it's not perfect, it's got a few battle scars. I think it just it came in an original box. I don't know that it was really used. Maybe it had been sold to somebody and then it was never used, but it definitely had a chip in it, like I mentioned. But for the most part, it doesn't really look like it saw service. I just think it got some of that rando sitting in a box for close to 100 years rust that happens whenever it goes in and out of somebody's garage, or humidity changing in the air and pulling it into the box. So anyway, it's a nice looking razor. Now, it's got a really interesting face feel, I can tell you that. Wow. BBS, guys, on those cheeks for sure. Perfect. I mean, the CBL soap does a great job. I love the way it smells. And it's not like super lightly scented soap either. You know, some soap you put it on, and while you're shaving, it's not really something you can pick up during the shave. Imperceivable. But this one you can definitely smell during the shave. It's nice. BBS smooth, guys. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. I love that. I mean, I like to think that I've been honing long enough that whenever I do hone a razor, it's ready the first time when you hone it. Oftentimes, if you don't get that bevel just right, which is the most important part, you don't get that bevel right out of the box, you're kind of setting yourself back and wasting a bunch of time. So more and more, if I've never honed the razor before, I'll take it down to at least 4K and see where it's at. But if it's got noticeable chips or edge damage, you're gonna see me take it right back to the 1K. I don't even mess around. I'd much rather make sure that that bevel's set right and good to start with. Use a little witch hazel. All right, and please guys, if you have not, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. And also check out the companion channels from theshavingcadre.com, the guys that are producing content like Major Rich, Handlebarber Dave, Nurse Dave's Shaving World, the Cutthroat Journey, Long Haul Tanker, Fenster Shaves, Scuttle Soap, and many more. All right, throw a little aftershave on. The CBL soap's aftershave, you don't need a ton of it. The elixir is just fantastic. It's kind of a mixture between an aftershave and a balm. And it just really is a fantastic product. You can feel it tightening your skin, and it's got a little bit of everything in it that just makes you feel wonderful. Probably don't need it, but I'm going to throw on a little 444 because it's got some extra menthol in it. It's been a hot day. It's about 101 here, and I just feel like a little bit of coolness before I go to bed. All right, so that pretty much does it for my shave, guys. Always glad to have you stop by and hang out with me. If you are at all interested in shaving or straight razors or anything like that, stop into theshavingcadre.com. We'd be happy to chat with you about it. And as always, I will shave with you guys later. Take it easy. Bye-bye.